Good evening. I'm back with another live recording, and once again, I don't expect a lot of people on this live for this video. It's 5 in the morning, so I'm aware most people are asleep, or most people are on their way to work or getting ready for their days. So this video is not for the live. This video is simply for the recording afterwards. I want to welcome everybody. This recording is called "The Above is the Same Presence to the Below." And what I'm going to be talking about in this video is all functions of duality. We perceive our lives in a dualistic principle: above and below, hot and cold, wet and dry, day and night, forward and backward, body and earth, inside and outside. And so what I'm here is to bring you back home, bring you back to square one, before you ever spoke that first word into being, before you ever spoke the word earth and projected it onto this screen. This earth belonged to your presence. The above was your presence. The below was your presence. The body was your presence. Before you spoke these words, when you were an eager child just to learn anything at all these words were your presence. Before you distributed the mind into this entire experience and split the self into two functions, two parts, the above was in your presence. There was no universe yet because you hadn't spoken the universe into a word. And until you speak the universe into a word, you have not projected it beyond yourself for it to be viewed. So, as I said in my recording yesterday, this light external to us that we know as the universe, that's housing all these galaxies and all these homes, is nothing other than the back of your eyes. What we think to be infinite space is behind your eyes, and all these infinite galaxies are your blood cells. That's what a fractal pattern is attempting to show mankind, but we as mankind are continuously resisting ourselves because we're trying to find ourselves as the human being. We're trying to find proof and validations of this human construct, which has never been. So we're looking for ourselves and finding no trace of the human conception. This is what the Big Bang Theory attempts to do, is create a starting point to this human conception. But the human conception does not take place outside of your own mind. It's you that has spoken the first word of being human and all that comes with it, and projected it onto the screen of your consciousness to be perceived and experienced as such. But before you create a below, and what I mean by that is before you assign the below a word, the body, human, before you assign the below these words and you define these words, the words, the definitions, and all concept and thoughts take place within your presence. Likewise with the above, before you perceived the above, there was no above. You spoke the first word of universe, of earth, into this projection. There was no earth, there was no universe to be projected through these eyes until you spoke the first word. And it doesn't matter if you heard the word from a television set, or from your parents, or from another human. You had to speak, physically speak that first word to conceive the earth, to conceive the universe. And this is why I say that no one else is experiencing the universe that you see. No one else is experiencing the earth you see. The earth you see is your own projection in your presence. The same way the earth I see is the projection to my presence. This is why we do not see the same things. This is why people who ask me about the star alignments and you know, the moon's energies. I don't believe in this because I don't even see a moon. What you think to be a moon and what I think to be a moon are completely different, because I do not see a moon. I do not see a sun. I do not see stars. I do not see planets. I know what you reference when you use these words and to speak to me, but I am not seeing what you see, because that is exactly the point. The seer is what is seen. It is you are seeing. It is your formless and shapeless mind and your belief that is constructing what you think to be an experience. And it only makes sense because you have made it all up. From language to the thoughts to the facts to the theories, you've made everything up. What we think to be reality with facts and logic and common sense is nothing more than a made up and practiced dream. Reality is the dream. The truth is stranger than fiction, because we couldn't make up anything stranger than truth itself. It's maddening to exist, and to exist as anything at all. But that is the very maddening part about it, is you are everything in existence. And what you are naturally wants to define it. What you are naturally wants to put a word to it, to capture it. To capture it and say, this is where I've started. This is where I began. This is where I'm going. And this is where I shall end. But this concept of living is everything we are not. We think life to be appearance, disappearance, birthing and dying, but this is not the case. And it isn't until we start piercing the veil of our own mind-body that we're able to see more and more discrepancies in this experience. And one of those discrepancies, or glitches if you will, are governments, are governing systems. They're there to introduce a problem to you. They're there to introduce and put forth a problem on your experience or on your screen. And that problem is what highlights, is what pushes you into the pursuit of spirituality, into the journey of yourself, to further question, is this actually real? Is this actually happening? Is everyone else seeing this too? But I tell people the collective will not help you. The collective is nothing but you. They will not help you in your journey to self-discovery. There is no answer that is outside of you. So understand, you can ask whoever you think to be the greatest mind on this earth, you can ask them to answer your question, and it will still not fulfill your answer. Because the only answer that will change you is through your experience. You are the answer. The question is made up, and so is the answer, which means if you are making up the questions, only your answer, your direct experience, will fulfill you. My answer, nor anyone's answer, my guidance or guiding, or anyone's guiding, will not help you, will not save you. It is you await. These government conspiracies don't begin or end anywhere. Everyone in spirituality thinks they're leading up to something. This is the ego's game. All it's leading up to is huge disappointment, because all these people are doing are creating expectations. They're expecting things which are not coming. And this is no different than waiting for Jesus to descend from the skies. Won't these people be very disappointed when he never comes? Likewise with you. Won't you be very disappointed when nothing ever comes, when nothing is being revealed, when you're waiting so persistently for that aha moment and it's just not coming? And this is the very reason why you are it. There is no shift happening in the world. The world doesn't exist. I'm going to read a status on Facebook that I screenshotted, and I'm not going to share who it was from, because who it's from is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. And I want people to understand something. I'm not picking on this type of content, this type of status. But the reason I'm about to read this is because I've seen so much of statuses with this type of wording. And again, I share this to make people more aware. Okay? How many people, and I want you to be honest with yourself, how many people, how many times have you seen somebody write a status along these lines? New Earth ignites now. Can you feel the massive shift that has taken place over the past few days and last night? We have been busy and very successfully quantum leaping and collapsing the artificial matrix and all its timelines and creations. I want you to be very, very aware. This is why I tell you the collective will not help you, and the collective is only mirroring unto you your own beliefs. So the collective you're looking for to reaffirm you or to confirm what you believe is only you looking for yourself, you looking to reassure yourself. So when we ask people, can you feel the massive shift that has taken place over the past few days? Absolutely not. This is you. You are the shift. Do I feel what you're feeling? Absolutely not. Maybe your ears might have rung once in the night. Maybe you might have had a headache. Those are universal feelings. Sure, I can post a status and say, I've had headaches all night, my head's buzzing, my ears are ringing. Who else is feeling this? Something is happening. But all this is doing is creating something, a mystical expectation in our minds. We think we're leading up to something because our ears are ringing, or we're getting headaches or trembling of the body or something. But again, be very cautious. This does not lead you anywhere, and there is no one else feeling the shift that you are. And when you ask people, are they feeling the massive energies that are shifting and changing and this and that? No. It's you that's changing, that's shifting, that's moving. And yes, everything is moving in motion, everything is changing constantly. But again, you are the only one here. I am just the projection to everything you are right behind your eyes. I am not different from you. I am not separate from you. You are the only one here. It is your presence evoking everything. You have never perceived a person without your presence because all persons are your presence. You've never perceived a world without your presence because what you think to be the world is your presence. It's not the world changing and it's not the world shifting. It is your presence. It's not the people changing and it's not the people shifting, it is your presence. So I'm going to continue reading. The new grid, new realities, and our new self and new technologies are ready to come fully online any moment now and are already busy igniting. What's that lead up to? The new grid, new realities, and our new self and new technologies are ready to come fully online any moment now and are already busy igniting. Our old false self and human blueprint is being burned off as the new divine luminous human ignites. And see, again, I'm not picking on anyone. I totally get what they're referencing. But understand that the world is not shifting beyond your presence. The people coming and going into your experience are because of you and your beliefs. The people that you reject to be awakened are the people who do not support your beliefs, who do not see what you see. Therefore, they are the problem because they are not supporting your dream, which prolongs you from realizing what is beyond the screen. All these people and their suits dissolve back into your presence. You're living in a dream that only you make it out of alive. You forget this. Forget the collective. Who cares what you see, what I see, what he, she sees? Your direct experience is God itself happening, is the highest truth, is the divine. You don't need anyone to confirm or guide or tell you what you are experiencing and if it's valid or invalid. Right within yourself, you have everything needed. Yeah, Christian. And Alan Watts says the same thing. When you fully realize this, that you are the universe, that you are every person, you are all of it, you can't do anything but help and laugh. You can't help but laugh at this, because all it is a cosmic joke you are playing with yourself. So Jeremiah, there is only one experience. And the thing is I'm not searching for anything. I'm not trying to reach out and grab anything. What I speak is for those persisting, pursuing. And make no mistake, it is my reflection. It is me. But this is the same reason Rumi spoke. He consciously spoke to himself. I consciously speak to myself. You can call me insane if you'd like. But you have poets who unconsciously speak to themselves, like Edgar Allan Poe. Beautiful poetry, but he wasn't directing it to himself. He was unconsciously sharing poetry with himself. Whereas people like Rumi and Alan Watts, they share the poetry consciously aware. They're speaking with themselves and no one but. And be careful with the wording. I don't believe in manifestation. We're not manifesting anything here. We're not creating anything here. Nothing new is beginning. What we've mistaken as artificial intelligence is only our own tail. What we think we're creating as something new is only ourselves in the old. We're coming back around to answer our deepest question of all. Who are we and how did we get here? I get what you're saying, Jeremiah. And that's why Rumi said, all your attempts to reach me are in reality my attempts to reach you. An awakening is not an event. There is no one awakening. This is a great misconception with enlightenment. To who is coming across this enlightenment? That's precisely what you awaken from, is there is no self-awakening. There is no self coming to enlightenment. You've been that. You are that. There is no actual event. There is no real or fake. What you perceive to be real happens through presence, and what you can perceive to be fake happens through the same presence. So ultimately, it is presence that decides whether this is real or this is fake. And that presence is your own. You determine if this is real or if this is fake, and that's all real and fake is. Your presence shaping itself. That's what night and day is. Your presence shaping itself. Night happens through your presence. Day happens through your presence. Before you knew day to be light and night to be dark, they were both just your presence. There was no night or day. There was no light or dark. There was no color. You spoke every detail, every function, every process, every belief into this experience. From the colors at night, to the shading at night, to the moonlight at night, to the stars revolving at night. You have spoken every detail, fact, and logistic into this universe. There is no below and there is no above until you define them, until you create them. And how you create them is precisely that, definition. You give it a story. You give it an origin. And just like that, you have fallen into a false illusion, one that has never begun. But to you, it 110% is real and has begun, and is on the treadmill of ending every second. Your experience is attempting to slip away from you through death, because you have fallen for the notion that something has begun. And this is why time doesn't exist. If time is going forward, forward is just a direction that you have assigned a name and a function. Forward is backward, and backward is forward. Why? Because they happen through the same presence. Before you determined time was going forward at all, there was no such thing as time. It was just your presence, expression. That's it. You didn't have a word for it, but once you defined it, now you've slipped up and you are bound by time because you believe in it. This forward motion that you're rolling into, and you think you're going somewhere. But you're not going anywhere. You never have been. Nothing has begun. Nothing is actually moving beyond this screen. That's what the moment allows for. The moment reveals to you that which is not changing at all. Everything on this screen will be changed 1,000,000 times over. From the definitions you've created for yourselves, such as human, humanity, human race, these words won't exist 100 years from now. The image will be changed 1,000,000 times over again. We will always self-identify with a word, with a species, with something. But make no mistake, when we talk about the great I am, you are talking about the source behind every single being there will ever be, and there ever can be, because the great I am is just that, no self. It is through I am that you know any self at all, that you know any human race, that you know any experience at all. It is this I am presence that evokes something out of nothing. And this is why you will never know death, because you are that something out of nothing forever. And don't think of forever as something repeating or looping, because remember, time does not exist, and that's just how easily we fall for time. Is we think, oh my God, we've reincarnated here again, we're doing this again, and all that proves to you is that you've fallen for the boundaries of time, because now you're in this loop of again and again and again when it doesn't even exist. While you've been here, you've never been here before. You are the paradox. While you've done this, you've never done this before. While you are it, you would never know you were it, or you would never knew you were it. Until you choose to unveil yourself behind all the names you wish to create. Angels, demons, Pleiadians, aliens, Nocturians, Arcturians, Disturian, Atturian, starseeds. You've chosen many names to hide behind. You've chosen many forms and deities to hide behind, but make no mistake. If it's I am you seek, then it is no self you are bound to run into. Inevitably, you must realize the source to your being, the essence to your being. That what you're trying to capture cannot be touched, cannot be grasped. This is no different than Alice trying to catch the white rabbit. The rabbit hole is your mind. And the reason the rabbit hole kept going deeper and deeper and deeper is your mind is the fractal pattern. And if you've ever seen a fractal pattern, it keeps going down and down and down and down and down and down and down. You think you're getting somewhere, you think you're moving, but you're not. The pattern is showing you the same one, the same thing. The colors change as we do, black and white. The forms change as we do. But one thing through that fractal pattern is not changing, and it's revealing you to yourself. You are staring the answer right in the face, but we reject it. And especially the scientific community, they reject it because, again, they have the greatest expectation of all. After all, it's their job to blow people's minds and to find something so groundbreaking and flabbergasting. But again, the truth is stranger than fiction. It is you that's behind that screen you think to be infinite space. And it always has been. But you are not just human. You are not just your birth name. You have no boundary. You don't exist between point A and point B. That's what an out-of-body experience shows to you. Not that it takes you out of a body, but shows you you have never been one. So, for instance, when you truly have an out-of-body experience, you hit a point of no return because you don't return into a body. Quite the contrary, you realize there never has been a body. That limited word that you were just identifying with existed in the mind. And the mind made the mistake of memorizing this form with that word body. So just like that, we've allowed this form and its expression to fall into the word body. And doesn't that sound like a familiar quote? In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. but you fell from heaven when you spoke that word into being. You're no longer whole when you speak that first word. Now you become very personal. This experience and everything in it is personal. Because now you take the world, the worldly appearance, and the body serious, as real. Quite naturally so. But this is what's referred to as the returning to innocence. This is why they warn you not to grow up and become an adult. Not because you have to go to work, or because, you have to pay bills or things like that. Your mind loses its innocence. And I'll give you an example. The adult mind is not innocent at all. It wants to uncover, define, and tear apart everything to this experience, and it still will not be at peace. Whereas the child is innocent in the mind. It looks at everything around it and sees nothing but a beautiful playing of energy. And it doesn't have to be those exact words, but you get my point. A child looks around and sees nothing but pure joy and playfulness. A child sees nothing but pure love. They don't need to define it. They don't need to scientifically dissect what is inside of this atom or in this cell. But the more you grow up and out of that innocence, the mind starts to become dominant. And now it's not so innocent. Now I need to know what's inside of my body, inside of these cells, or I need to know what's behind these planets, or what's inside infinite space. But a kid does not care about these things because the kid is innocent. The kid is the highest expression of presence. But the more we fall into the word, the more we become this being that is defining everything. And that is why we begin needing to define the entire thing. There is no more innocence in the adult mind. The adult mind is in a hurry and fast. We need to figure out what this is, and now. The adult is always in a hurry. The adult is never at peace. The adult is never satisfied. But a child is innocent. Life is not a mission. Life is not a problem. But to the adult, life becomes a mission. Life becomes a problem. And that alone is one of the greatest burdens onto ourselves. Deep down behind this screen that we call reality, it's an illusion. It's nothing but an illusion. And this is why I tell people, NASA has never touched the moon. We've never landed on the moon. We've never touched the sun. But all NASA releasing this information to people does is it cements, it anchors in the fact that you are a human in this physical world. The world is real, and it's physical, and it's here. And it's right before your very eyes. How much more obvious could it be? We're all seeing it, right? But what's funny is this has been a topic for many years about the shape of the Earth, and everyone thinks that NASA and these agencies are hiding the shape. Why don't you take it a step further? The shape is irrelevant. Take it a step further than that. Who cares about the shape? How about the seer and what's seen are the same presence? That directly proves to you there is no earth, no physical earth. And if you want to take it a step further, you go into quantum physics, quantum mechanics. Nothing is until it is perceived by you, because the seer and what's seen are one and the same. There is no world until your presence views it. That's why they ask you, if a tree falls in the middle of an empty forest, does it make a sound? Absolutely not. It is you that evokes sound out of nothing. It is you that evokes vision out of nothing. All these senses are your presence, evoking something out of nothing. You are these objects, you are the things moving on this screen, and you are the things changing on this screen. Nothing is dying and nothing is being lost. The projections may be removed from your screen permanently, but again, there is something behind that screen that is waiting to reveal itself to you. And we can fall in love with the screen and tremble when those that we love die and remove themselves from this screen. Or we can simply look behind this screen and remember who we are, exactly what we're doing here, and precisely where we're going. Because again, once you know there is no earth and you see truth for what it is, you know you're not going anywhere. You are already there. And you always have been. What that means is it doesn't matter. Artificial intelligence, you already know what's coming. It's the singularity. It's yourself. You don't see something other than because you've already experienced an ego death, so you know there is no other very clearly. And never again will you fall for this illusion of other, no matter what the appearance is. So again, it can be a cybernetic organism, no different than this phone, which is the very extension to our mind and brain. We've taken this, or a thought, and created a phone with it. We've taken thought, and created a computer with it. But we still weren't satisfied. Now we've taken our thoughts and combined a computer with this very image. If only we could put the computer inside of this image and make the computer move just like we do. And the more we progress what we think to be artificial intelligence, the more and more we will begin to understand Ouroboros, the snake devouring itself, which has been depicted for centuries. It's you. It always has been you. And this is precisely why you've left symbols behind, such as these, such as the Ouroboros. You have to think. Creating symbols that speak the infinite message is no different than kind of saving the game before you turn it off. It's just like the all-seeing eye. Whoever conceived the all-seeing eye and drew it into a form, they became aware of themselves, just like Jesus became God, or Enoch became Metatron. They became aware of themselves as the entirety. They experienced the ego death. But now, how do I communicate this to myself, to my reflections, for years to come? Well, let me put it into a logo, into a symbol. Something that speaks the answer without saying any words at all. And you've successfully done it, the Ouroboros. No words need to be spoken. No words need to be spoken to understand. This is one being devouring itself. It's the same as Rumi's quote, I searched for God and found only myself. I searched for myself and found only God. We are precisely doing just that. I'm searching for an alien and I'm finding only myself. I'm looking for myself and finding only an alien. It's a misconception. There is no artificial intelligence because there is no human being. And if you watch any of my videos, I say this every single video. We're not human. We never have been human. No human has been born here. No human has died here. And likewise, if there is no human, there is no machine. But all the people fearing artificial intelligence, and especially the metaverse, it's going to enslave us. They're going to trap our consciousness here. Who's they? They who? Because what you're saying is one person has the sole power to upload everyone's consciousness onto a screen, right? And then control and dictate that. But the funniest part is it's true. One person does have this power, but it's you. But you don't believe it. You want to believe in the governments. They have this power. Why? Because they have financial power, financial institutions. They have laws passed with the judge stamp on it. This is illusory power. This is illusory control. This governs nothing. It is you that has it the whole time. No one is enslaving you here. No one will be enslaving you in the future. No one is trying to upload you into a simulation or into a video game. It's you. And the direction you're going in, you cannot escape. Because you cannot escape what you are. You're fighting to preserve that which you are not. You're fighting to preserve a misconception, an illusion. This fight to defend this body and preserve it, so we can keep this body alive just that much longer, is nothing but a misconception. One that we're taking serious and we're making it reality. This is not reality. Reality is not appearance and disappearance. If what you are or identify as can be changed, it is not what you are. Anything about your being that can be changed is revealing to you that which is inside you that is not being changed. Because there is only one thing in your presence that is changeless. And again, it's always with you. That's why you miss it. You don't pay attention to the presence. You pay attention to being awake and then to being asleep. But where does wakefulness and sleep take place? Within the presence. Where does reality and the dream take place? Within presence. But we don't pay attention to presence. We get lost in the reality. We get lost in the dream. We get lost in the above. We get lost in the below. We get lost in the man. We get lost in God. Never do we stop to realize the two are one presence the whole time. And that presence is your own. You can dream the most magnificent dream, and that dream could have allowed you to touch every place on this earth. But when you wake, that presence remains the same. You haven't gone anywhere. The same thing in wakefulness. You could have hit every airport in this world and traveled from airport to airport to airport to airport. But when you go to lay your head on that pillow at night, you will have traveled nowhere, because all those places were the presence. This reality and the picture produced was presence. And it's this very same with a dream. The picture produced, the people appearing there, were your presence. You're living in a dream that only you make it out of. All these people are you. All these places are you. And all these things are you. The man-made laws and principles that we've created over the universe, including the very word universe itself, are all made-up notions based on who we think we are. And if who we think we are is a misconception, then what do you think the rest of it is? If the ego does not exist, if the ego is an illusion, why would the ego's concept of control exist anymore? You don't have control, not as an ego, not as what you know yourself to be. You see, we want control as what we know ourselves to be, not realizing control is ours completely because you are so much more. But you are trying to control that so much more from a limited vantage point, one in which that will never have control. And that's why life is a big problem for many. We attempt to grab the screen to our own consciousness and submit it into control, submit it to our will. But this is why they say the truth, you do not bend the truth bends you. And you either bend to it or live a lie. The truth is so obvious, it's staring you in the face, and it's always with you. But as I said, the truth is stranger than fiction. Alice in Wonderland is my favorite movie because it is that fiction that attempts to illustrate that truth, which is insane. It's maddening. That's why I love Alice in Wonderland. It takes existence and it embraces the insanity behind existing at all. You could be nothing. In fact, it would be so much easier to be nothing at all and to know nothing, to just be a blackness forever or a whiteness forever, whatever. A void, an absence, nothing at all. Yet here you are. An impossibility upon itself. To exist and be anything at all is insane. That's why the truth is stranger than fiction. And my favorite part in Alice in Wonderland is, which way do you want to go? I don't know, because I don't know where I'm going. Well, if you don't know where you're going, why does it matter which way you go? It's the same with us as being human. We're fighting ourselves from every angle. But the one angle that's keeping us stuck the most is governments. We're fighting this entity so persistently, and yet it's just like what the cat says. Where are you going? Well, you don't know. Well, then why does it matter? Sit back and enjoy the ride. Let what's going to be revealed to you be revealed. And know that you are in the best hands because it's yours. And like I said in my previous video, I'm going to reiterate this here because this is very important. The Matrix 4 had a very good point to it. If nothing else, this was it. The people are in need of governing. The people require it. The people need a system that confirms and reassures and tells them what their reality is. That's what the TV is doing. That's what your cell phone is doing. And why do you think Will Smith and all this nonsense is going viral? That is what we choose. Freedom is yours. Liberation is yours. You have all the answers at your fingertips, but you and us as a whole want to focus on Will Smith smacking a celebrity. We're choosing ignorance, and we're blaming someone else for it. The government's enslaving us. No one's enslaving you. The answers are all at your fingertips. But you are focusing on surface level garbage. Celebrity goals, relationship goals, house goals. Leave behind the television, leave behind the cell phone, leave behind this governing system, and realize that the governing system mirrors your dual brain. Why is the government split into two sides the same way your brain is? Everything the Democrat is, the Republican is not. Everything the Republican is, the Democrat is not. The Democrat is the left hemisphere to your brain, and the Republican is the right hemisphere to your brain. You choose one or the other so that you can be at war with yourself. The answer is you the whole time. But again, who wants that? Who wants to actually be free? No. We want something to blame. We want someone to blame. And therefore, we will not face the mirror. We will not realize it's us the whole time. Why? Because it's easier to blame the government, to blame the Democrat, to blame the Republican. If only they weren't there. Heaven on earth. Bliss. But they are there. So until the collective becomes aware of whoever they are, bliss will not happen for me. Heaven will not be on earth until we can eliminate they. But remember, the greatest conspiracy is with you and yourself. It's a guarantee every time. We need to really think about that, though. Why are our topics such as celebrities slapping each other, things like this, going viral? Because we allow them to. Because we choose to. It's the same with Neo fighting Mr. Smith for 3 movies. Why are you fighting? Why do you persist? Well, because I choose to. Okay. The fight is over. Likewise with your own liberation. Why do you prolong it? Why do you delay your own liberation? Because you choose to. See, deep down, many people want to awaken. But then, deeper down, they don't. Because once you awaken, the dream is over. Like they say, you can never stretch your mind back into a smaller self-awareness. Once you expand your mind into a further awareness, you can never go back. That's why I tell people this is a point of no return. Once you see your selflessness, you will never be able to go back. You will never be able to veil yourself again. Through a name, through a form, through a place. You will never go back again. It is a point of no return. But to be fair, why need you go back? This is what you've been seeking. This is it. And this is why the blame game is so popular. When you look at the technology we have available to us right now, we have every esoteric book right at on our phones, right at our fingertips. We have access to books that people back then couldn't even touch, couldn't even see. We have access to all this. But again, we go on YouTube, we go on WorldStar, we go on this stuff for entertainment. We don't actually want to awaken. We want the entertainment. We want the dream. We want to remain immersed in this dream. As much as we want to be out and free, We don't. But there will come a time where you do, because you will have suffered enough. Whether it's due to death, to loss, to tragedy, something will make you have had enough. And on that day, that is when you will seek and persist every which way out of this dream, as many of us had. Even me, when I was in my sleep, I can admit, the research I was doing was only keeping me in a deeper sleep. The facts I was finding were only supporting my dream. I was getting in my own way. But again, like I said, a day comes where you have suffered enough. You can no longer pretend with yourself anymore. And you will persist enough to awaken from this dream. Not pretend, not for show, but for actuality, for the experience, the direct experience of God. Not for the theory of God, not for the book of God, not for a communion of God through someone else. Directly through your experience, knowing God. Not becoming God, realizing you are it. You're already it. Even in your unconsciousness, it is you. And there is no knowing of God either, so eliminate that. How do you know you're God? Well, you don't. You wouldn't know it. What does it feel like to be a lawyer? Well, you wouldn't know if you were a lawyer because you are it. You are that. What does it feel like to be God? You are that. You can't explain it. You don't know. It's you. What does it feel like to be in the sun? You can't explain it. It is you. You are the universe experiencing itself. What that says is you are the only one here. It's just a nicer way of saying it. An awakening is not fighting something. That's resistance. That's why Morpheus says to Neo, or Neo asks Morpheus, "Are you telling me I can dodge bullets?" And Morpheus says, "I'm telling you that when you're ready, you won't have to. Because the very people firing those bullets at him are him. So when he's ready, the fight will cease to exist. You won't have to dodge bullets because you will know the self fully, inside and out, you and me. There is no fight. But until you discover yourself, you will fight, you will persist, naturally so. You will attempt to destroy this corporation or this entity that you think is shadowing the world into darkness. But it's only yourself. And the world that they're shadowing is your own world. No one else is seeing, experiencing, or feeling what you are. Yes, feeling is universal, but we're not all experiencing the same experience. We are the same experiencer, if you will, the same presence, different experience. Who is the one speaking? The very same speaking through you, Deborah. I am that I am. We have no name. Language is even made up. These words don't exist. But again, we've made everything make sense for the dream. there is no such thing as order to chaos. We've brought order to our chaos, to our true face of facelessness. We've brought order and made sense out of that which doesn't make any sense at all, that which is maddening, that which is chaos, which is infinite. If these videos resonate with you, please feel free to share them out. I'm going to wrap this video up. I'm going to post this video on my YouTube, which is called Red Pill Rabbit Hole. If you haven't already, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel on there. And I usually go live on YouTube every once in a while, and I'll do lives on here and upload them onto there. So no matter what, you'll always catch me on YouTube. Again, if these resonate, please feel free to share them out. And if anyone has any questions, thoughts, ideas, topics, please feel free send me a message. If anyone has any podcasts too they'd like me to join, or you'd like to just have me on there, I'd love to be featured on someone's podcast too in the future. Definitely trying to start expanding this message more, but that's only possible through you. So thank you everyone who's been on here, who's engaged with me, and I appreciate everyone in general just for being. It's not that serious. I don't care if you don't believe what I say. I don't care if you don't resonate. I don't care if it's not truth for you. Still love you, still appreciate you being here, and listen, it's not that serious, okay? So I respect everyone's view, I respect everyone's journey, everyone's truth, right? I simply just make these videos to remind people of their innocence, of their power, to restore power back into us, right? Instead of seeing so many people so vulnerable to internet and social media and beliefs, these beliefs, especially within the past 5 years or so, have really crippled spirituality, the spiritual community. So it's nice being able to make these videos and just kind of remind people again of their sovereignty, restoring the power back into the people, without a revolution, right? Because people seem to think a revolution is when thousands of emotionally disturbed people are running into their city to destroy it, to somehow send a message to a system or something. This is not a revolution. The word revolution is what happens within mankind, internally, when we begin to internalize the fact that these worldly systems only mirror the internal system of your brain. That's a revolution. You reset this system, the worldly system, which is behind your very eyes, and awaken to the fact that you are this system. That's a revolution. Anyway, namaste. Thank you.